jeez. Trying to moderate you. Sorry, that was hilarious. Possible sexual. It's like, we're talking about a friggin' flu shot. I don't think there's anything sexual in a flu shot. And if you do get something sexual out of a flu shot, you got issues. Like, just seriously, you got issues. You might want to go get those checked. I mean, you're already at the doctor. You might as well get that checked. Yeah, the doctor, it was kind of, so I had a doctor's appointment Monday. And I think my doctor was annoyed. You know, I mean, I'm at least, 50 pounds overweight. I mostly work, online. So I'm pretty sedentary during the day. All of these risk factors. And no, actually it's a she. So yeah. It's hilarious because she wanted to find something wrong. In fact, I was healthier than the last time she saw me. I'm still doing good. I'm still in a healthy state, which is surprising to most people. I do try to get my physical activity. I do try to exercise, but, there's, for whatever reason, whenever I start to exercise and do more, I gain weight. I don't lose weight. I was losing weight for a while. I was almost down to 300. I'm back up to 320. So 20 pounds in the last 6 months. But I'm more active and more exercising. I don't think I've changed how much I eat. So it's literally just converting the mass into muscle, which is denser, which is heavier. It's so annoying. Like, really, it's annoying because to hit their targets, I literally have to do nothing. But if I want to feel better, I go outside of their targets. So I just say, screw it. As long as everything else is fine. Like, my blood pressure was 40 points. No, 25 points lower in 6 months. I was borderline hypertensive, and meaning I had, borderline high blood pressure, but I got over it. I'm doing better, and it's probably going to be time, take time where I'll start dropping weight again. Just keep up what I'm doing. Kind of segues into what I kind of wanted to talk about was, the flu shot, and how people get so weird over vaxxer or anti-vaxxer. It's like, you know what? You can be an anti-vaxxer all you want. I'm fine with that. That's not, I understand that it comes with a risk. Both my mom and my sister are borderline, if not full on anti-vaxxers. My mom actually has a reason. My mom has an overactive immune system. So when she gets the flu shot, she's literally down like she has the flu. Her immune system just knocks her out. She's been that way her whole life. So she's never really gotten vaccines. Me, on the other hand, I've even had experimental vaccines when I was in the merchant. I have been experimentally vaccinated against anthrax. Your average person isn't going to have that vaccine. But I have no problem getting vaccines. Now, I had no problem getting the first COVID vaccine. I had an issue with getting the boosters. Woohoo, 40 stream. Okay, technically they do have mercury in them. But the problem is that it's not in a mercury that is breakdownable to your body and actually absorbable, because it's actually in a molecular combination with something else. Like there is mercury in it, but it's by the time that vaccine reaches you, 9 times out of 10, there's no mercury. But even if mercury gets through to you, it is in such a tight bound molecule that your body can't break it apart and you just eliminate it. It just goes out as waste. Most of the anti-vax stuff is garbage. There are a few things that are problematic, but not in a way that I would be terrified of getting a vaccine. I mean, like I said, I've had experimental vaccines. I'm not worried about it. Even more so is that we shouldn't shame people who are anti-vaxxers. Because honestly, we don't know their reasons. They may have perfectly valid reasons. Just because I don't agree with them doesn't mean I can't understand that they have a reason that they have the right to deny a vaccine. Now, do I believe that companies, if they don't want to deal with the added risk of having somebody that doesn't have a particular vaccine in them, if they want to fire a person over it? Yeah, because that actually increases their insurance rate. And that gets spread on to every employee. I think it's perfectly valid if an employee wants to fire you over that, or an employer wants to fire you over that, go right ahead. But also with, like I was saying, with the COVID vaccines, they're fine, the first level. But the added boosters, I never understood. It didn't make sense to me, every 6 months having to have a booster. It's just not something that is normal to vaccination. And yes, I get that the COVID vaccine was a different kind. I heard you, baby. Where are you? All right, fine. Ignore me. Oh, see, private schools and colleges, if they're private, kick the kids out. You don't have to take their checks. Refund their money and send their kids out. Sorry, we can't take you. Go back to public school. I'm sorry. We live in a society, or we should, where people have the right to, yes, not get vaccines. You don't have to vaccinate your kids. But that also means that the schools, especially private schools, have no need to take your kids in. If that is a requirement of it's a private school. We often forget what the difference between private and public really is. Public is anytime you're on state or government-owned land. A lot of people don't understand what that really means. Sidewalks, that's out in public. That is a public space. Anything that censors anything you do in a public space is in a public. But in private, that's private companies. You go inside a store, that's private. You go into your own car, that's private. You go into your house, that's private. Private and public spaces. You can have all your windows open, all your doors open. That is not an invitation. That is still a private place. Just because somebody has all their windows open, all the curtains drawn, opened and everything like that, people can look in from the street. But once you step on their land, that you're in private again. I once had an argument about that with an apartment manager, where the border of public and private is, because she was sitting there trying to tell me that the apartments were public land. And I'm like, no, they're not. That's not public land. That's private property. No. And I'm like, no, it is definitely private property. It's not public. And she sat there and tried to argue with me. And I'm like, do you run businesses out of here? Well, just the apartment. I'm just like, okay, so you're not running a business. Does the state pay for your paving of the apartments? Well, no, we pay for that. Okay, so that's private land. The state doesn't own that land. And we have the right, like in an apartment, you sign a lease. That lease is legally binding. And if they're going to modify the lease before your lease is up, they have to give you the opportunity to opt out of the lease with no repercussions, no early, no nothing. They're changing the rules on you. You have the opportunity to leave before that lease is over. 9 times out of 10, most apartments don't do that. They'll just, the new leases that they sign, people will follow that. But the people that have been there longer that are still under the old lease, they don't have to follow it. It's kind of screwball, but that is how it works. But we live in a free society. People have the right to say things, but they also have the right to suffer consequences of those things that they do. That is just how it works. You have the right to tell me to go to hell. I have the right to tell you to go to hell back. That does not mean that you now have the right to punch me in the face. Nor does that give me the right to punch them in the face for telling me to go to hell. I have the right to just turn around and walk away. I don't have to listen to you. Very few people in this world actually have the right to take away your freedom to walk away. And even those few have to have a very legally binding reason for keeping you, for holding you against your will. Oh, I'm sure it probably did, but I don't think there's a lot of people that really pay attention anymore. Like they understand these things, but they don't really think about it. I mean, think about how many times people post their crimes on social media and then wonder how the cops can use that as evidence against them because it was a private message. You put it on social media. That has already been ruled to be a public space. That'd be like me complaining that, I make, some kind of threats on stream. Okay. And me complaining that the cops come after me. Well, but it was on my stream. It was private. I'm broadcasting this publicly. This is the same as me standing out on the street corner, screaming at the top of my lungs. Well, not even screaming at the top of my lungs, just telling everybody that goes by every little thought in my head. If I'm threatening somebody, that is an unlawful act. That is illegal. Pure and simple. I don't care where you do it. If you're doing it in any kind of public space, that's illegal. Even if you're doing it in a private message to somebody, you are handing that message off to someone else, much like sending a letter. They can use that as evidence against you. If that person passes it on, like you've made a valid threat, if that person passes it on to the police, guess what? That's illegal. And a lot of times people are under a certain level of obligation to report that. When I was a security guard, I was what's known as a mandatory reporter, even when I was off shift. If I see something that is wrong, something that I disagree with, it is my obligation. Not that I disagree with, sorry. If I see something that is illegal, I have an obligation to report it or to halt it. I mean, when I was a bonded security agent or security officer, I had carried a card, everything like that. That also came with certain restrictions if I was found publicly intoxicated. I could very well lose my security guard license. I could lose my career. Yeah, it's not necessarily straight to jail. I still get my time in court. But yeah. So, I mean, when people used to roll up on me and start, arguing and all of this stuff, and, you know, like maybe making vague threats, not necessarily directed, I would legitimately look at them and I say, you know, you might want to be careful because I am a mandatory reporter. Right. I knew what you meant. And, you know, just the fact that it is important to understand that there are people that absolutely have to, or else they could lose their job. And we're living in a society where a lot of these people aren't. And that bothers me. Where these mandatory reporters, or they've removed that from people. But people forget that nurses, teachers, they're mandatory reporters for certain things. If they think your child's being abused at home, they have to say something. Nurses, if they think, you know, your spouse is abusing you or that your parent is abusing you, what's up, Infinite? Welcome in. Glad to see you here. But if a nurse sees what they think is, you know, abuse, they have to say something. They have to do something. You know, and I think a lot of people forget or disregard that when they make their statements on social media. When they do this, there is tons of people that are going to see that have to report it, regardless of what you meant. They feel that it is necessary for them to do something about it. I mean, I don't even know what to say in that, other than that's how it goes. And I wish more people would actually stand up and do the mandatory reporting, would do what is right. You know, if you don't like the laws that you're having to finally chill in tonight, nice. How did you do on your finals? I think today was your last day of final. You feeling good about them? Well, I started with vaccinations, and now we're talking to people's right to privacy, but there's also a certain thing called a mandatory reporter. One more Friday. Okay. Well, good luck on the Friday one, but I hope you're feeling good about what you've done already. You know, and I think a lot of people forget that they are mandatory reporters. Oh, nice. Nice. I forget, you know, so when I went to college, you didn't get almost immediate responses. You know, it was always like a week before we got our final, you know, our grades on our finals. Yeah, just imagine having that anxiety hang over your head for like a week. Lose your scholarship or your, you know, grant money. That was always a stressful situation. Dang. Okay, that guy's... I think that's kind of mean for anything. So you don't even know where you are in the class. You don't even know how you're doing until it's already too late to do anything about it. That seems kind of... I don't know. That seems weird. If I realized a professor was like that, I'd hope to God he wasn't the only one that taught a similar class on campus. I would have swapped professors. I literally did that one year. Had a professor that was known for specifically discriminating against white males, which blew me away because she was a very German woman. And it threw me off that, you know, she was literally known to discriminate. Because we actually did an experiment, and yes, technically it was cheating, but we took it to the dean of students and explained everything that we did. But we actually had a guy write out the essay that we were supposed to turn in. And we had a girl write out the essay, but they swapped papers. And we chose them because they were very similar in their work. And one went to actually, the guy went to this discriminatory teacher, their class. And the girl went to the other one. And she was pulling like straight A's. And it was the same level of class. I think it was an English 2, 200 level English. And so they swapped. And he failed. And over here, she still got her straight A. So we took the evidence to the dean of students. Yeah, and that teacher was suspended. And then she came back the next year like nothing happened. And was pulling her same tricks. Like it didn't do any good. Yeah, it was English 202. That's what it was. So, I mean, I understand that she may have had reasons to be angry at certain men. I mean, don't get me wrong, men can be dicks. I understand that. But to me, that is no different than any kind of racism or stereotypism where you just blanket statement, oh, well, these are always going to be this way. No, everybody's people. You need to treat them like people. But, you know, that was just my thing. You know, sorry for intruding. That just bothers me when a teacher, you know, plays games. It's actually why I didn't go any further in my college career, because I couldn't. I had made a name for myself, and I didn't realize how well connected the person I pissed off was in the surrounding colleges. I was literally discriminated against. You know, but again, that's kind of the story of my life. Yeah. Anyway, but, you know, we forget that social media isn't private. Just because you DM it to your friend or you post it to your friend's wall, I think is what they still call Facebook, or story or whatnot. That is public space. Yeah, I'm always going to piss off someone, so it's fine. You know, I will stand up for what I believe in because I'm going to piss you off anyway. So I'm not going to bow to somebody's concept of who I should be. Screw that. It's not my problem. That's your problem. I mean, if you're going to hate me, you better hate me for who I am, not for who I'm trying to be. You know, I don't understand, you know, changing myself for someone. But, you know, right to privacy is something that we take for granted. You know, in a simple terms, we have taken our own privacy away from ourselves. I mean, look at me. I'm sitting here in what is illegally called a public space. I might as well be sitting on the town square, talking on a bench, waiting for people to listen. Same basic idea. I just have a lot further reach. And I think people misunderstand that comes with a certain level of scrutiny. That comes with a certain level of decorum you should probably adhere to. You know, any of this can be used in a court of law. I mean, they actually have to save these for a certain amount of time just in case a crime was committed. And they are under obligation, if served a proper warrant, to hand that over to any investigative authority. You know, so I'm not afraid of anything I'm saying being used against me. Because one, I know I'm never gonna, you know, incite violence or, you know, because I will always say, violence is dumb. Defend yourself from violence, but never instigate. I mean, if you look at all of the wars America's won, it is always in defense. We were never the instigator. all the wars that we've not done so well, Korean, never start but always finish. Exactly. Korea and Vietnam. Even, technically the Iraq war we were in a defense of another people. And we won that one's hands down. The first time around. Afghanistan dragged on for how long? Oh, wait. Have we ever declared it's finished? Kind of, but not really. And we featured horribly in it. Compared to what we should have been fighting, we lost horribly. Being the aggressor never works. Never. It might work for a time, but you better damn well understand who you're aggressing against. You might win for a short time. And I think we could take a page from like Roman, from the Mongol, from, history, and notice how well these conquerors managed the people underneath of them. They didn't grind them to dust. They didn't change everything they, had to do. In some cases they did, and that always went horribly. Rome just incorporated them and mildly frowned when they didn't follow their beliefs. And that mild disapproval eventually won the people over. I'm not saying that Rome was the pristine city that a lot of people like to point it to. It's not. But I'm just saying that grinding someone underneath your feet never works. They become a thorn in your foot. They will always keep popping up because they will always push themselves back up. You have to work on incorporating them or incorporating their beliefs into what you do. There has to be a give and take. Or just let them be them and move on. That's really all it is. And I think that's the same today as it always has been. It's the same thing that we should learn in our own political rhetoric today. Both sides keep trying to grind the other one to dust. And what happens? Nobody wins. The very people that they're supposed to represent are losing. They don't care anymore. I guarantee you, no matter how much it looks like in voting, people are just voting to vote. They're apathetically doing it, but they don't really think about what they're doing. They're voting for people willy-nilly. I don't even know how else to put that. It's so hilarious that you'll find how people vote is so hit and miss. Or they just vote for whatever party they're told that they're supposed to vote for. I guarantee you that's how the, momentum of a party, that's why you have red states and blue states. Because it's really hard to flip a state because most people don't even pay attention. That's like one of the first signs that something's wrong. If you don't have a dynamic voter base, if they're not actually picking and choosing who's right, who's wrong, but if they're just voting for a party, you have a voter base that's not even paying attention. They don't even know what they're doing. I think one of the biggest problems we have, and don't take this out of context, but I think one of the biggest problems we have is universal suffrage. Letting anybody and everybody vote. Because if you're just letting everybody vote, you don't have people that have a right. No, yes, exactly. Straight ticket voting was dumb. And what I mean by universal suffrage, I'm not saying that we should isolate, women and, people of color out of it. No. I think there needs to be a test. And anybody has the opportunity to take this test to earn the right to vote. I know, hot take. But I also think people need to take a test before they have kids. You know, I mean, I legitimately think we need to do a little bit more licensing of how things go. And I don't mean like, oh, are they financially independent or whatnot? You know, that can be used against people. Do the people have basic common sense? Well, trust me, if I had to take that test before I had kids, I would have failed it. Because sometimes that's what it takes to grow somebody up. That dependence, you know, knowing that there is a life dependent on you. Well, now I've got to take life seriously. I can't just be a kid. So you have to grow up. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these parents today, is that they just hand the kid the iPad or the phone or whatever and let it do its job. We're taking the responsibility away from the parent. I mean, look at this, you know, every app, you know, you have to have your ID now is trying to go through. You know, every app's got to know who you are. Because, you know, for the kids. No, it's not. It's for data scraping. Don't even give me that crap. They want more accurate data scraping. They want to know exactly how much money they can charge you at any given time. I mean, DoorDash is already doing it. And I know a lot of people won't want to understand what I'm saying, but DoorDash has actually been seen to change the price of the goods from the grocery store, depending on who you are when you order. Even though it's the same delivery route or the same, you know, pickup, it's the same neighborhood store, but they're scraping your data from your phone, knowing how much you can afford and how much they can squeeze you for. And yeah, it might only be like a 50 cents here, 25 cents there, or $2 here. But over time, that adds up. It's one of the reasons why inflation is so out of step with what people are paying for groceries. It's one of the reasons why I will tell people go in the store. You know, and boycott any store that uses dynamic pricing. Any store that has LED tag, you know, that can change the price of the good as you walk by, that's bullshit. They already paid a specific price for that item, and that is already factored into the price that they're selling it for. All they're doing after that is gouging you. Oh, there's been a sudden increase in demand. Okay, well, next time that you order that, when it's more expensive for you, sure, charge me. I get that. But don't sit here and charge me more for something you already bought and paid for. When that factor, I mean, especially when you're talking like you can change it in the millisecond. You know, and you at some point it's going to be individual. We're going to be like given augmented reality glasses, and nobody's going to see prices on billboards or anything because it's going to be so targeted. You know, it's one of the reasons why I absolutely will not use a QR code for a restaurant's menu. It's like, no, hand me a physical one. If you don't have a physical one, I'm out. Sorry, I'm not going to give you access to my phone. People don't realize how much can be encoded in a QR code. And it's not necessarily in the QR code itself, but you're giving permission through using the QR code to access to your phone. Yeah, but I don't use them. The only time I use QR codes is for two-factor authentication in my Steam, and I think in Discord. That's it. I won't use them in stores. I won't use QR codes. You, as soon as you click on that and you go there, you are agreeing to certain terms and conditions that you never even saw. Let alone, who knows what third party it went through to get there that you don't even know you hit in between. Your data is being scraped. They're selling that data out the backside. They're literally making money hand over fist because you use a QR code. It's not just physical media we need to go back to. We need to go to physical menus that do not change. My menu should not come off of a frickin' TV. I get it. Oh, it's so nice. It looks so good. Who cares? All it means is that you can change the price anytime you want. And you're telling me that these billion-dollar companies, yeah, sure, they might lose a little bit of money here and there because prices fluctuate. But that's the cost of doing business. That's just simple cost of doing business. And I hate it because, like McDonald's, any fast food, I shouldn't even call out McDonald's, but pretty much any fast food has to use those screens because they're all franchises. Because all of these fast food joints are nothing but real estate companies. Real estate companies and selling you a certain brand. That's it. Oh, and don't forget that they're controlling what and how you do anything. I mean, I looked into going into business for myself many times. From the time I was in junior high on up, I wanted to go into business for myself and figure out how to do it. Well, unfortunately, I'm of the age that every time I got to the point of possibly being able to do it, the rules changed. And I don't think people realize how predatory franchising is. It's scary. They control every aspect of your business and take none of the risk. Your store stops doing good numbers, they can take that franchise away from you and hand it to somebody else. Last time I looked up, McDonald's franchise, I think you had to have something like $1 million in the bank before they'd even let you purchase the franchise. And that $1 million has to just sit there. You still have to have the money to buy the franchise outside of that $1 million in the bank. That's their insurance. Yeah, depending on the company, depends on the flexibility. Yeah, I mean, different companies have different levels of money, but franchises, right. And it's dumb. It is so dumb, it's ridiculous. There are certain things that regionally work that would not work in any other region. I can't even bring up an example, but just certain things regionally work really well. Where I'm from in Washington, and I think up and down the West Coast, there was a fast food restaurant called Burgerville. They've gone to crap now, but they used to be really good because they would specifically source the ingredients for their fast food within a certain range of each store. Okay. Who's CFA? Chick-fil-A? Chick-fil-A. Yeah, Anytime Fitness. Okay, a franchise like that. I mean, don't even get me started on actual gym membership bullshit. Anything that I can, don't even get me started on Chick-fil-A. I literally will not go to them. I don't care how good their food is. I legitimately will not go to a Chick-fil-A. I will not support some extremist religious group who also happens to run a restaurant. I'm sorry. I get it. They treat their people nice. They do, but their open bigotry, I won't support. The only one that's even possible to survive is a new ice age. Well, okay, possibly global solar flare, you could possibly survive, but full Yellowstone eruption, we live in America, we wouldn't survive it. Yeah, if we lived in Africa, Australia, Europe, Asia, there is a chance. As long as you're not in the coastal areas. But a full Yellowstone eruption, you live in America, you're dead. The shockwave alone within, like, what is it, 1,000 miles would be enough to make you deaf. Global solar flare, are you talking like a solar flare that literally engulfs the whole planet and burns it? Oh, if the new ice age is like day after tomorrow level rapid freezing, we could still have a chance of surviving it. Because there's unique properties to water freezing. It actually turns into an insulator. The more of your building or whatever is frozen, the less that cold can penetrate. Up to a certain degree. And remember, the Earth is nuclear powered. So if you learn how to burrow down and actually capture that decaying radiation from the core, it actually heats up the surrounding thing. That's why, we have a molten core. So it's more likely to survive a new ice age than any of the other two. Because a global solar flare, the best thing about a global solar flare is that it's temporary. The effects will be long term. But the burning itself, if you're in proper place, you could potentially survive. But well, okay, so the global EMP field falling apart doesn't matter. See, a lot of people, talk about it, but the simple fact is that doesn't matter. When it comes to a massive EMP, like, okay, you're just talking about the EMP, not like the Earth is actually getting basically a mass coronal ejection, where it's basically wrapped in burning hot plasma and searing the upper atmosphere and cooking us. It was just the EMP. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of problems. But what you'd have to focus on is going back to, farming, hunting, gathering. It's something that not a lot of people can do, but humanity's pulled ourselves up from doing. We could learn again. I mean, and there's plenty of people that would surprise you that would be more than capable of taking it on. And plenty of people that you thought could, who couldn't. You don't realize how much they rely on technology to hunt. One, throw away your firearms. They've already changed how black powder works, how all of that works. Bullets have a decay life now. The black powder in them. So, I mean, all these people, stockpiling firearms, bullets have a 5-year shelf life before, they're just basically useless. So stockpiling ammo, ridiculous. Learn to shoot a bow and arrow. Hell, slingshots are, honestly, my survival kit would be super simple. An axe, a slingshot, and a spear. All right. Valid. I'm just saying, in a global apocalypse like that, there is a lot of things people forget. One, you're never going to be able to prepare for everything. Two, I don't care how much food you lay by, it'll never be enough and it won't last. Because remember, pests want your food too, and they will find a way in. Insects will come for your food. That 200 pounds of flour you stockpiled, you'll be lucky if you can get half of it back. before it goes bad or is overrun. You know, you can do whatever you want, but as soon as you crack that seal, it starts decaying. You've set the timer. You know, the best thing you can lay by, MREs. Good evening, Jade. How are you this evening? You managed to stop in. I've got about 10 minutes, but, 10 minutes before the break. How are you? But, when you're talking about, prepping, when you're prepping for, when shit hits the fan, I don't know what you just tried to say, Jade, but it literally censored it for me. And given Twitch, it could be a completely benign message. Sleepy. Did it literally censor you? What? You are asleep. I'm fine. I'm good. Even though, I got a flu shot yesterday, which is how I started off this conversation with vaccines and how. Right. Wait. Saying sleepy, you got censored. What? See, this is infuriating. And you had a I know you can't see me on camera, but I'm literally holding my head. Like, what the hell? This is what I'm talking about. This is why children should not be given the internet. Because Twitch felt the need to censor that. Because it thought that was a link. Sleepy.u. I don't even know if that would even be considered. I am so baffled. Hold on one second. Sorry. My wife sent me, I went to check your text, Jade, and my wife sent me another one, and I get to go to Iron Lung. Apparently, it's showing at my local place. Hell yeah. Ha ha, Greenie. Sorry, that just shocked me. I didn't know. Yeah. It thought it was a freaking link. Hello, gossip. Well, apparently Iron Lung is showing at Cinemarks now. So, look it up. I am so ready to go. I so want to go. I am so excited to go see that movie. I've been waiting. Has it been like 2 years? Oh my. Oh my. Ever since he announced it, when he announced it, I have been waiting for that movie. I am excited, and watching that trailer. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for Iron Lung, but the amount of emotion, probably. I know that there was a notification on Like he did a post that there's literally thousands of more or 1,000 more theaters that were added. And so, but they haven't been able to update the website yet. And they're trying because so many people are crashing it, trying to find out as the theaters get updated. But yeah, as my wife said, Merry Christmas. So that just makes me very, very happy. You know, it's funny because my kids are the ones that introduced me to Markiplier. And, oh man, 8 years ago? I've been watching him since the beginning of FNAF, however long ago that was. And I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like because like off and on, I watched him early on. Like I apparently missed the whole Unus Annus era, which apparently was like really bad. And like a lot of people, you know, it's just something that I try to respect the heart of the art. You know, I don't look at anything other than what's blatantly thrown at me about what Unus Annus was. One, I can't stand Ethan. I'm sorry. It's my own problem. I tried. I don't know what it is about Ethan. I don't like Ethan. So I probably wouldn't have really liked Unus Annus. It's my own problem with Ethan. But the only time I actually really can even stand him, Tiny Box Tim. But, you know, I mean, my kids got me to watch it, and I don't know. There's just something so genuine about Markiplier, and I hope to God he doesn't end up being some kind of scandalous person. I don't know how he would have. I mean, like the biggest controversy he's had so far is that he may have faked one of his videos because he was trying to get it out on time. One of the FNAF, you know, completionist things. And he had to fake a certain part of it. But whatever, you know, I mean, I think that I don't care. I mean, if that's his biggest controversy, oh no. And I don't know how many of you guys are fans of Markiplier. I don't know. I know what he goes through to get, you know, to what he does now. And I don't know. It's just exciting. It's exciting to see him go all the way this far. And watching him act in Edge of Sleep, well, and the heist with Markiplier, In Space with Markiplier, A Date with Markiplier, you know, doing those things and then moving on to actual movie. But in Edge of Sleep, chef's kiss. I was worried, but he did a damn good job. He wasn't Markiplier in that. He was his character. And I can respect that. You know, it's just like playing Dispatch. And they wrote basically a character for Moist Critical and Sonar. You know, Moist didn't really do anything different than what he was to play Sonar. And sure, Jack played an Irishman, but he did a lot of voice acting into making that character unique. Not, you know, oh, it's Jack Septiceye. Right? Well, and that's the thing is there's a lot of things that we pass over because, you know, I mean, just there's a lot. You know, I mean, so Markiplier is why, and this is not Markiplier's fault. Okay, so, but Markiplier is why I looked into Mr. Beast, because like, oh, okay, well, I heard about Markiplier. My kids got me to watch him, and I really appreciated him. And they got me to watch, you know, my kids got me to watch Jack. Really like Jack. Well, the other one that I had heard about was Mr. Beast. So I tried watching Mr. Beast. I have never seen anything so fake as a Mr. Beast video. And I'm not saying he uses CGI or anything like that. But my God, it is so fake to me. There is not a genuine thing happening there. The contests are fake. Everything is fake. It's all loaded for clicks, all loaded for maximum drama. I cannot stand it. He edits his TV show, his YouTube channel like a reality TV show. Now, if that works for people, that's fine. I'm not saying Mr. Beast is an evil person. I know he's had a lot of controversies. I don't know anything about those. What I do know is that I can't stand his stuff because it's so fake. Everything is just about how much bigger and better he can make it. It's not about him. It's not about being genuine. It's not about being, who is Mr. Beast? I don't even think Mr. Beast knows who Mr. Beast is. I'm just going to say that. I think that poor guy got famous so quickly, so everything, that it was right through formative years that he doesn't know who he is outside of that persona. So much so that I don't think he even knows who that is. He doesn't know who Jimmy Donaldson is anymore. He knows who Mr. Beast is. Like Batman and Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is the Mask. Jimmy Donaldson is Mr. Beast's mask. Jimmy Donaldson really is Mr. Beast. Sorry, if I've offended people, I apologize, but this is my view, my opinion. I don't know enough about the controversies to weigh in on any of that. I will say that right now. But I will say that I have been a long-standing, person. If you've known me for any length of time in real life, I have not been a fan of Mr. Beast. There is something in him that just rubs me the wrong way. And I don't see that with Markiplier. I don't see that with Jacksepticeye. I don't see that with PewDiePie. I don't even see that with Asmongold. Oh, his eyes look empty. It reminds me of Martha Stewart. Funny enough, I think Martha Stewart came out of prison with more life than when she went in. I remember watching Martha Stewart when I would be sick home because my mom would watch her, and I'm just like, how do you watch her? She is so empty. XO, that is literally my term for Martha Stewart, is her eyes look empty. And I literally read that initially, Jade, as that it's been a day and you stayed up last night wrapping pretzels. And I'm like, why are you wrapping pretzels? But yeah, it's been kind of a day. It's been a good day for me, but that's because I gotta play games with my friends. I gotta work on something for Taroxa, trying to help him. Well, help him out. He asked me. I wanted to do it. And I'm sitting here talking with you guys. And that's actually one of the things I wanted to. Ooh, been baking yours. Oh, but yeah, chocolate covered pretzels, dark chocolate covered pretzels, with a butterscotch not glaze, but a drizzle over the top. So good. But that is one of the things I wanted to say, like influencers. Here's the thing that I think everybody needs to learn about it. Right? So I am stopping. I'm stopping. If you, with any celebrity, any politician, celebrity, anything, if you cannot see yourself sitting down across the table and having a drink, coffee, whatever you want to drink, and talking with the person as if they were a normal person, all you're doing is hero worshiping. Why did my ad not run when it said it was going to run? That irritates me. But it's just the fact that if you can't see yourself sitting across the table and having a real conversation with someone, you're just hero worshiping them. You don't relate to them. You want to be them. And that is a huge difference. I could see myself sitting across the table from Markiplier, from Jacksepticeye, from any number of these people, whether I agree with their politics, whether I agree with any other part of it, but I can have a real conversation with them versus certain politicians, certain people. No, I wouldn't have a conversation with them. The conversation would either be all about them. You know, if I was hero worshiping, all I'd want to do is ask them about them, not really talk to them. You know, it's not like you talking with your friends, if that makes sense. You know, it's scary. It's scary how much we hero worship people. You know, and that's even, you know, like I said, movie stars, all sorts of things. Like there's a lot of people I watch on YouTube that I can see myself having a conversation with. Now, I also know that I'm a unique person, that I don't have a problem talking with people. But there are just, I mean, like if I sat down across the table from, and we'll just continue the example with Mr. Beast, all he would be talking about is numbers. I would walk away from that no wiser on who Jimmy the Beast, Mr. Beast Donaldson really is. And I'm not saying that Mr. Beast is a bad guy. I have no idea. That's not what I mean at all. He's a machine. All he cares about is the numbers. But I couldn't get him to engage about probably anything else. Markiplier, I could probably talk so many different things. Whether or not we saw eye to eye, we'd have a conversation about so many other things other than YouTube, other than what he does. Now, maybe that's a bit he puts on. Maybe that's a show. I don't know. But that's the difference is I really just want to have a conversation. I really want to be able to talk to these people, to understand them, to just get to know them. Not, oh, YouTube is so, how do you do the videos? Like, I don't care. I would ask Markiplier, hey, have you ever been interested in comic books? You know, what comic books were you ever interested in? You know, you ever played a tabletop RPG? What did you think of that? You know, oh, hey, this movie, what did you think of that? You know, normal stuff friends would talk about. That's what I would try to do. You know, that's how you should think about these heroes, these people. It's people you relate to, not people you want to be. That is not a very good place to be. You know, I mean, and even if that's me, click off now. If you just want to know how I do what I do, there's a problem there. The reality is we should be just getting to know people. Like, I mean, if this is going to be parasocial, you know, quote unquote parasocial, shouldn't we make it more social than para? Shouldn't we want to know who they really are? Not this bit they put up there. You know, that's the same thing with movie stars. You know, I mean, I could see myself sitting across the table from several movie stars and having conversations with them and not about their work. I mean, how many of your friends do you sit across the table and talk about their work? No, you talk about other things. Most people don't want to bring work home with them. I mean, yeah, sure, you might ask them, oh, how'd work go today? You know, show a genuine interest in what they're doing and who they are. But that's just breaking the ice. Once you get beyond that, you start talking about other things, like we do here. You know, I mean, I had this kind of idea of talking about certain things, but now here we are. We're talking about something I had no idea we were going to talk about. You know, the whole thing should be like a give and take. You know, I like when you guys ask me questions, when you talk. Hell, I like it when you guys talk amongst yourselves. Hell yeah. I think Danny DeVito would be a kick to sit across the table from. I would love to sit across the table from Danny DeVito and play friggin' Go Fish. Playing cards. And just bantering back and forth. I mean, yeah, I'm going to be the loser in that banter. I feel pretty, oh so pretty, witty and gay. I'm just saying that, I mean, Danny DeVito would be the one you could sit across the table from. And if he saw that you were feeling uncomfortable, and this is just my take on it, I guarantee you he would do his best to pull you out of your shell and get to talk about you. He'd want to know who you are. Any genuine person does. I mean, I want to know what you guys are. That's why I try to get these conversations. That's why I want a back and forth. I'm not just here to sit there and listen to myself talk. Robin Williams would be another one that he would, if you sat across the table from him, I guarantee you he is going to try and learn who you are and bring you out of your shell. Same thing with Christopher Reeves. Same thing with, I feel Chris Evans would probably be very similar. The more I learn about Ryan Reynolds, the less I think he would be like that. I think he's more wrapped up in himself and his image than I really wanted to believe. But I still like him. Don't get me wrong. Hugh Jackman, I could give a crap less about. I mean, he'd be one of those people I see in the world, just like, whatever, don't care. He plays good characters, but that's all I care about. I don't see that I could have any kind of conversation with him. Now, I could be completely wrong. I am open to being completely wrong. Do I think I'd ever have a chance of finding out the difference? No. But there's a lot of people in the public that I think would be great to have a conversation with. I mean, as much as I might despise his politics, I could have a wonderful conversation with Hassan Piker. It would be a fiery conversation. It would be antagonistic. But I could have a conversation with him because he's a real person. No matter how much I may not like who he is a real person. I don't think that's a bit. I think what he puts out there is really him. Just like with Asmongold, that's really him. That's what I'm saying is that that's the whole point of Twitch, of YouTube, is the real people. Not these people that are starting to come up that are so manufactured. In fact, a lot of them I kind of stopped watching because they've gone too polished. They've gone too much. I don't feel they're genuine anymore. And it sucks because that's the way YouTube's going. Everybody wants this corporate polish on it. And there's certain things that I think is really fun to do. But I also think that there should be a place for just some, tinfoil hat wearing idiot that's just speaking from the heart, no matter how much conspiracy it is, no matter how stupid he is. Speaking from the heart, not to get clicks, not to get views. There's this conspiracy theorist guy that I love watching, Coop. He's a lot of fun to watch. Again, I don't always agree with everything. I don't believe everything he does. And that's the thing is I don't have to. I'm watching this for entertainment. I don't have to take it seriously. Just like, my God, please don't take me seriously. We're all having fun here. That's the whole point. That's why I tend to get a little worried when I don't see a whole lot of responses. I mean, I hope I'm entertaining people. That's great. That's fine. I'm happy with that. But I also like talking with people. I hope to God I never get so big that I can't talk. I want to make a decent amount of money at doing this. I don't know what that number is right now, but I don't ever want to get so big that I can't talk with chat, that I can't pick out names and, say to people like, oh yeah, hey, how's it going? I remember that you were doing this, like, with your guys' finals or with Green Jeans and his cooking and, that kind of stuff. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these bigger numbers, is that these people start thinking or forgetting that the only reason why they're where they are is because the people that they started with, the people that were there in the beginning. Without that initial success, I hope so. I want to. I really want to. I don't ever really want to get, and I don't see you guys as little people. No, I seriously doubt I'll ever get that big, Green Jeans. Trust me, I know I am not for the wider audience. I'm not even talking like, the whole bullshit, modern audience. I'm just talking about, I have never had a wide appeal. I think I'm just too moderate. Like, I'm too radically center. Dude, if I ever hit that, I will be 500 subs. I would be absolutely ecstatic. Funny, Jade. But, I mean, I'm just saying that if I got to be so widely popular, I would actually worry if I've lost who I am. Like, now am I just doing it for the, for the views? Am I just speaking certain things so that people keep watching? Or is it really who I am? I think that's why I struggle so hard to be here every night. No. Green Jeans, I will never run for politics. Because there's no such thing as a clean politician. I don't care how good their heart was when they started. They have always had to compromise. Because that's how we do our government now. We don't have proper people, we don't have the proper system to actually take care and get the right people in business. In the political sphere. They're celebrities now. No. I mean, would I say no if somebody sat there and told me, okay, here you go, you're now the ruler. You have to do things. I would do the best I could. Miss Texas's government? Oh, okay. Is in government. Okay. Well, I hope so too. But we also have to remember that a politician is much like an influencer, or vice versa, more likely. Influencers are much like politicians. The whole point is to get people to like them. That's why I think it's very important for me to keep in mind, I don't have to do this. I don't need, no matter how much money I make from this, my wife provides for me very well, and I try to take very good care of her. That's my job in life. Before even doing this, taking care of my wife is my job. And that's very important to me. I would quit streaming if that's what that's what I had to do to take care of her. I mean, she'd never ask that of me. Please understand, she has never asked that of me. She encourages me every time. She is absolutely blown away at the success I've already got. at where I am right now, she is absolutely blown away because she's seen people react to me in real life, and how I'm not a wide appeal person because I don't always say what's say. I know I'm going to piss you guys off at some point. I don't mean it personally, but I'm also not going to change my beliefs. I also, like I said, I don't mean it personally. I never mean to personally attack people. That is never my intent. My intent is to be as real with you guys as to who I am as possible. Warts and all. And that's why I want you guys to talk back, to talk to me. If you see me do something that you don't particularly like, talk to me. Tell me about it. Yeah, exactly. We don't have to agree. I don't need you to agree with me. But I would like to know why you disagree with me. I want to hear your take. Because here's a little secret. Sometimes I play the asshole. Sometimes I will sit here and I will take the contrary position just to make you stick to your guns. Just so you understand why you believe the way you believe. Just so you have it formed in your mind why you think the sky is blue. Yeah, devil's advocate. Of course, everybody needs that. So don't always think that I am talking about things that I truly believe, but I will come clean before the end of it. Simple as that. I will always tell you where I actually stand. Like, I know we've had discussions about immigration. Do I believe unchecked immigration is a good thing? No, it's not. Yep. And if somebody shows you that you're wrong, you should be strong enough to go, oh, wait, I didn't understand that. But with immigration, do I believe unchecked immigration is good thing? No, it's not. It's been proven time and time again in multiple different countries across multiple different eras that it's bad. It brings down empires. Unless you actually control the immigration and you do it with intent. And a lot of people don't like when you have to control it. Do I believe what ICE is doing right now is good? No. No, the way they're going about it is all bass-ackwards. I think they forgot about the whole part of control. Control and enforcement. Because the first thing they should be worrying about, if they really care about illegal immigration, is going through company books and fighting these companies for every illegal immigrant they hire. Because that's against the law. Right. It's not even the financial strain. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think immigration is a very good thing. Every immigrant I have ever known, it is a strain on resources. But it's also a strain on the people. It's one of those things that we're at a tipping point right now. It has been completely misinterpreted what America really means by both sides. You've got the America fuck yeah guys who, thinks it's all firearm, fireworks, beers, and barbecues. But that's not what America is. America is literally about a bunch of disseparate people going their own way, having just enough government to hold it together, but not enough government to tear it apart. You know, I mean, that's what we fought and died for this whole freaking time. And the problem is that we do such piss poor planning. You know, here's the thing a lot of people on all sides don't understand. America has enough resources for the level of immigrants we have in country today, illegal or legal. That's proven. We're still here. The problem is the corporations aren't willing to expand cities, build enough housing, build enough factories, build enough jobs into the mechanism. America is not self-sustaining anymore. That's where the strain is coming from. We had mass migration, legal and illegal, decades ago. And we did it just fine because we had so much. I mean, the Midwest was America's heartland between factories, between farming, between everything. The Midwest was America's heartland. Everything came through there. But what happened? Well, we started shutting down railroad. So the quick and easy distribution of goods across the United States, that is absolutely ridiculous. I didn't know that. Why the hell would they buy them? I don't mind them owning them if they're going to, you know, I don't know, house some of their employees. You know, company housing used to be a thing. I grew up in company housing. My family lived in Bonner, Montana, not Bonner's Ferry. 6 miles outside of Missoula, there's a town called Bonner. We lived in company housing because of the Champion Sawmill. Right. I'm fine with them owning them. Give them, you know, company housing. I mean, it's not like they're paying their workers an affordable wage. So give them a cut rate apartment because you're already paying the taxes on. Why not make a little scratch from it? That's ridiculous. I mean, here's another thought. Hey, Walmart. Oh my God. Okay, so they're just waiting for basically political shifts so they'll reopen the stuff in New York. But here's another idea. Hey, Walmart, why don't you put a second story to your stores? Maybe a third, fourth? And offer housing for workers at a reasonable price. Right? I mean, that's something Mamdani should do if it's in actual New York City. But if it's in, the government, the governor of New York needs to do it. Because, I mean, New York's having a housing crisis. Eminent domain would satisfy here. I mean, everywhere's having a housing crisis. That's why housing is so expensive. Oh, wait, that's why they won't build more housing so they can keep making a profit from the housing they have. Like, most people don't understand. The housing crisis in cities is manufactured. It's all just so they can increase the rents, so they can make more money off of their investment than they originally thought. That's it. Like, actually offering it at a reasonable price? Okay, so, I mean, I hope I'm talking okay. I used to have this, like, mental map of cities. And you start at the downtown and think of it like the highest part, where it's value. And then, like, shortly out of the downtown, value drops. So it's like a peak. And then as you go out, it kind of spikes and spikes. And then, it's like one mountain in a valley. And it just goes up from there because of the suburbs. Sorry, hand motions. You know, you have the one center peak, which is the downtown, and then it kind of goes out like that. That's property value. You know, it's the further you go from downtown until you get to the actual outskirts, you know, it goes down in price and then scoops back up at a certain range. Look at any housing map and watch prices. The closer you get to downtown, the higher the price. You know, I mean, this stuff is so ridiculous. You know, and it's simple, easy fixes. If we actually mixed zoned, you know, commercial and residential being mixed. Yeah. You're not wrong there. But here's an even better idea. How about we just reactivate rail so we can move freight cheaply again? You know, I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. Freight was moved much cheaper by railroad than it ever has been by semis. You want to take out a lot of accidents on the roads? Remove semis from the roads. You know, old school distribution system like we had just when, you know, the Transatlantic Railroad got built, and the Transcontinental Railroad and the Trans-Pacific. You know, you have 3 lines, you know, east to west, north, east to west, central, east to west, south. Then you have north, south running in a grid. And then you spider web them from those connections, from those crossways. You know, that's very similar to what we used to have. You know, Amazon would be smart if they started reactivating railroads around their distribution centers. Getting their packages off the road. Oh my God, that would save so much money. Oh, but rail's so expensive. You know, it's like, not really. Rail is one of the easiest things to electrify and have a electrical grid running off the rail itself. You know, you could do large swaths of covered rail area with solar. Oh, but we've had all those accidents. Well, of course we'd have to, you know, reactivate some of the safety protocols on trains. The only reason why they were loosened is because there were so few trains. But also, once you take the rail and reactivate it in a good way, suddenly you have a lot more mobility. Right. Yeah, why not? I mean, I'm sorry. I've always wanted to take a luxury rail. So we'd call it Amtrak? Amtrak? But no, I wouldn't do Amtrak. I would have Amazon do their own side thing. Amtrak is so screwed up, don't even get me started. I don't know if I do or not. I like the idea of it. I've never been on a train. And yes, I know, Green Jeans, you're trying to get me to say love train. You know, as in a love train. No. I mean, I did say it, but, you know, I did it sarcastically. Right? Yeah, they finally closed the Orient Express. See, but here's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that Russia and China are increasing their rail. Do you know that? They're having their rails go from various different ports. Right? So why is America's two biggest competitors? Why do they run on rail? I mean, all of Europe runs on rail. For good or ill, it runs on rail. Why did America change it? I can give you one answer. Teamsters. Jimmy freaking Hoffa. Nope, wasn't money. It was Jimmy freaking Hoffa. I mean, root cause is probably money, but Jimmy Hoffa basically worked a lot of deals so that they would put, basically more truck drivers. Well, I would, but nobody knows where that is. It ain't Giant Stadium like people thought. Gee, I think Jimmy Hoffa was pretty much that. Only it was... He was a union boss that was very much controlled by the mafia. Was it Wrigley? I thought it was Giants. Hell, I don't know. There's so many conspiracy theories around Jimmy Hoffa. The simple fact is that the Mario brothers took him out to the pig farm. Just go with that. You'll never find his body because there's not enough of him to find. Right? Well, they did dig up a whole hell of a farm, but remember, during that time period, pigs were the ones that were the disposals. There's no pigs left that would hold the DNA left. It's been so long. There's no way to even get his DNA to find out. Like, even when they looked at the house supposedly that he was taken to, there was a, hey, what's up, Andy? Just checking in. Well, we're talking about a mafia boss getting whacked. Oh, you taking off, XO? Well, you have a good night. At least I assume that that's what that means. I know you probably have to get to sleep. And I know it's not too much longer. And trains. Yes, we were talking about trains. But yeah, I mean, Jimmy Hoffa literally... Oh, well, then you go to bed. Yeah. Reset the day. Tomorrow will be better. I promise. Well, okay, I can't really promise it, but I really hope tomorrow's better. See, what's tomorrow? Thursday? Well, if you're having a really bad day tomorrow, DM me and I'll just go live so we can talk. So I can entertain you. Maybe I'll play a video game. I know Ghost and I are supposed to be playing tomorrow night, but I'll go live early just to cheer somebody up. Exactly. Well, I was going to do the best I could, which is sit here and, entertain. I'll finish up Sally Face and then I can get to the next series that I want to do, which it is kind of unique. And I don't know how much you guys are going to like it, but I really like Borderlands and I have all the pre-sequel 2 and 3. So I plan on playing all through them, playing all of them. And just go through that in a series from the original all the way up. That's my next series I'm going to do. And I don't know how much you guys are going to like it. I hope you like it. I don't think I have the Telltale ones. I wish I did. But if it goes on sale, I might grab the Telltale ones because that would have to be between the sequel and the third one. I know I played the Telltale ones, but apparently they're not in my Steam library, which really bothers me because I know I had them at one point. So I don't know what happened. Maybe I played them on somebody else's account. But yeah, I mean, if I can get the Telltale ones, I will. Because I just really like the Borderlands. It's just stupid fun. And don't worry, I'm not going to like drag it out too far. I'm actually was pretty good at the game. And just, you know, I just think it'd be fun. But yeah, you know, I mean, trains were done away with too early. Because say like, okay, oh, well, you don't want a nuclear power plant too close to a residential area. That's fine. You can put a nuclear power plant in the middle of nowhere, connected to the rail, and you've powered up the rail. You know, if you do it all properly, you can connect that power and any residual can go back into the city grid. You know, the various cities that it would be connected to. And I mean, honestly, that really wouldn't be that hard. It's very much like we used to do with the telegraphs. You know, people forget that rail and telegraph were side by side. Hell, the whole reason why our roads are constructed the way they are is because of railroad, which they're constructed the way they are because of carts. You know, I mean, it's just what we do. It's what we've been doing for centuries. You know, I mean, our sizes of cars and our road widths are all down to carts and cart travel all the way back when. And, you know, we can put, I mean, if you're really worried about it, we could put, you know, like a bunch of nuclear reactors inside, you know, carve out a whole big area. Well, like they did at the Tonopah? Not Tonopah test range. What was that? Anyway, down in Nevada, they were building a nuclear disposal site. Well, why don't we just put the nuclear reactors in there anyway? They're all in a fail-safe, geologically stable area. That was the whole point of building where they did. And you just connect that to the rail, and the rail, you know, you follow the cable lines all the way. You know, just dig it alongside the rail, and you can distribute power and have a central, I mean, yes, this is also makes it very vulnerable, but you have a certain centralization to your power grid. You know, of course, you're going to distribute it out just for fail-safe. But, you know, we would actually act like a unified country rather than a bunch of separate states. You know, when was the last time we were actually the United States of America? You know, and I'm going to call out Texas on this. You know, it's like Texas is part of the United States, okay? I know that's sacrilege to a lot of you Texans, but, you know, you're part of the U.S. We're all united. We're all states. We should act like it. New York isn't better than Texas. Texas isn't better than Montana. Montana ain't better than California. And California ain't better than Florida. We're all the unified States of America. I think my brain's unified. I think you get what I mean, though. That we need to learn that we're all one country. You know, we're bickering back and forth among states of all things, like European countries. And I think that's kind of ridiculous. You know, oh my God, I don't like them New Yorkers, or I don't like the Floridas, or I don't like Californians. It's like, trust me, I'm a guy that's lived a lot of different places. Texas is just as fine as any other place I've been. Jingle bells, dashing through the snow. I still like those. Yeah, see, I mean, Easterners are interesting. Yes, there are regional things, but I don't think any of that makes one better than the other or worse than the other. You know, I mean, I don't, maybe it's because I moved around so much as a kid. I don't understand loyalty to a soil, to an arbitrary lines on a map. Like, trust me, I've crossed the barrier between many states. I have never seen a physical boundary, like a physical line anywhere. I mean, I've seen rivers, mountains that they drew the lines on states, but I've never actually seen a true difference between states. Because, I mean, Nevada's a desert. Most of it. But that desert actually starts in California, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, the surrounding states. That desert actually starts before the line. So it's not the desert that defines Nevada. Just like when most people think of California, they think of either San Francisco or Los Angeles, forgetting that there's Sacramento, there's the Mojave Desert, there's Death Valley, there's San Diego, there's inland, there's, mountains. I mean, Big Sur's there. They've got some of the most beautiful national parks. Redwood National Park, you ever get a chance to go through there? Do it. It's worth it. Or at least it was when I went. It was absolutely wonderful to see. Understanding the beauty of, one of these days I want to go north. I want to go to like Green Bay. I want to go to the Peninsula states. Yeah. I want to go around the Great Lakes. I want to see them. I think that'd be great. I think that would be awesome. Like, I want to see every state. Not because I think any one state is better than any other. It's because I think the United States needs to be the United States. We need better travel within our country. I think our highway system is so broken. It is so expensive to drive on, that it's ridiculous. That's why I want to increase rail. I want people without driver's license, with all of these things, to be able to travel and not dependent on an Uber or, airports or whatnot. Oh yeah, I think toll roads are absolutely ridiculous. I think those should have been absolutely illegal. Yeah. Yeah, but if we do train travel, if we do rail, think about it. The main highways like I-5, is my inspiration for this. I-5, 90% of the way, 99% of the way, is a 3-lane highway. Some places it goes wider, some places it's narrower, but on average, it's a 3-lane highway. So what you do is you take a southern lane and a northern lane, and you convert those into railroad. Which means that you have just increased the amount of traffic that can handle, that the I-5 corridor can handle, by 10 times. By removing a lane. Think about that. Because your average passenger train can handle 200-300 passengers. Well, technically it's kind of unlimited, depends on how long the train is. And if you strategically stage engines throughout that, so you can decouple part of the train because it's going to continue south, but this one needs to go west or east, guess what? You can move that around. If you pattern your train properly, you can pop these around and move along. We don't need these Herkin, freight trains we think of. You can use intercity trams, to move from Portland to Seattle. Not that hard. Especially with the technology we have now, you could literally decouple along the way. We even have electric train carriage wheel that can be self-powered for a certain distance. So you could literally decouple and go to the smaller cities with 1 or 2 cars and drop the people off and have that catch back up. or catch one going back south. Like, there is ways to do this. If I can think of it, somebody else, some civil engineer, train engineer, whatever they're called, can literally pattern it out. I mean, just imagine how fast and how cool it would be to go from Dallas and instead of taking an airplane, take a train all the way up to New York and not lose any of the conveniences of home. Sleeper car, whatever you can afford, but it would also be super cheap. But you still have your Wi-Fi. Most companies, if you're prepping for a vacation, you're going to take a week-long vacation in New York. So the week it takes you to get to New York, you're still at work. You're just remotely working off the train. You use the train's connection to do your work in transit so that you're not leaving anything on the table. Any last minute stuff can be taken care of. When you're in vacation in New York, yeah, see, exactly. You don't have to be connected because of some last minute screw up. You can just instantly have your whole vacation, that whole week. And then on your way back, you have that week or however long it really friggin' takes to catch back up with all the work, back up to speed, whatever. So by the time you're actually back in the office, guess what? You're all good. You've got it. You're all the way back up to speed and you're barely dropped any part of your job. You were just gone for a week. That's all I'm saying is that there is tons of ways to do this. And if I can think about it, I guarantee you somebody else has, some corporate CEO, and realized how much satisfaction it would give people. And see, here's the thing. Comfortable people don't spend as much money. You know that? If you're comfortable at home, if you are satisfied with your life, you're not going to spend as much money. You might go on more vacations, but you're not going to do the impulse buying. You're not going to go and buy, oh man, I just need to go out for a little bit. I'm going to go to the bar this weekend, or I'm going to go out to a movie. You're going to do a lot more impulse spending. You're going to spend a lot more money than you really need to. But that's because you kind of need it for sanity's sake. If you understand what I mean. Like literally for sanity's sake. And I think that's very important to understand that a lot of the splurges we do, like, I don't feel like cooking, I'm just going to go out to fast food. Yeah, well, we're social creatures, yes. But I'm just talking about, instead of sitting at home cooking, you're just like, screw this. I'm just going to go buy a burger from McDonald's. Because you don't have the mental capacity. Because you've been drained all day at work or at college. Or you doom scrolling on TikTok, on Twitch, on YouTube, to the point where your social and mental batteries are just drained. You don't have the mental energy to even cook for yourself. That's where we are as a society, is that we're stressing ourselves out, and it's fully voluntary. We feel this need to have to do it when we really don't. I know, because I grew up without all this crap. But it's not real crap. We just need to learn to use it better. I know I called it crap, but no, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, they're not actual crap. They fulfill very specific functions, but we're using them wrong. That's the problem. We're using these instead of socializing, instead of going out. These are our fill-ins for what was used to be known as the third place. You know, you always had work, you had home, but you always had a third place. You know, for me, it was the mall. Then it became Denny's. Then I didn't have anything. You know, now we use this as our third place. And it's sad because we've been told that, oh, the parks are dangerous, so we don't go to the parks, which became a self-fulfilling prophecy because now dangerous people hang out in parks because nobody else does. Because that's where they can get away with doing what they're doing because nobody's there. Nobody's going to call on them. Nobody's going to say, oh, you shouldn't be there. You know, that's why parks started having sundown rules where you couldn't go to the park after sundown, which I think is really sad because I don't know if you've ever been to a park, you know, after the kids left. You know, I was a teenager-ish. I think it was late teen. Me and my buddies used to go to the park and ride the swings and just talk and BS and just hang. But in my town, they changed the rules. You know, you couldn't be at the park after sundown. Even though my tax dollars, because I was working a job, was going to pay for that park. But I couldn't use it because I wasn't going to infringe on the kids' time. You know, kids were using it during the day. And even stupider is that a lot of times me and my buddies, all we were doing was playing flag football. You know, the lights were still on. We could see what we were doing. We were just getting muddy playing flag football. But, oh, we might damage something or we might destroy something. Yeah, I'm sure that there were other people that were doing that, but we weren't. We weren't dealing drugs. We weren't getting into fights. We weren't being violent. Well, no more violent than flag football is. We were playing. We were having fun. We were using the park for what it was intended to be. But now we're told that we can't. Well, because they did the sundown rules, now criminals were hanging out in the parks at night, dealing drugs, you know, meeting up for their turf wars or whatnot, using it as a neutral territory, so to speak. So we lost ground. We lost the third place. So now we're trying to fill it in. We're trying to find something for it. And while I think Twitch has a purpose, but this shouldn't be your third place. This should be like instead of watching TV, a more interactive TV. You get to talk to people. You get to interact with chat. You get to interact with me. You know, you get to watch somebody play a video game and be goofy. This is instead of, you know, TV. You know, this is your entertainment. But you should still go out and have fun. Go out in public. I mean, sure, I get it. Some people can't. Some people have social anxiety. I'm here for them. That's the point. Anyway, just so you know, I am happy to be here. I love being here because I'm a social creature and I enjoy the hell out of doing this. I really love doing this. So I hope to see you here tomorrow and have fun because I have. Good luck on your final, Infinite, on Friday. I know I'll see you tomorrow and I'll probably tell you good luck again. Little extra luck never hurt nobody. Have fun, guys. Love y'all.